And rolling.
And I've got the legendary Wailers with me. How are you guys doing?
Great, great.
Amazing show tonight.
Thank you very much.
Really good. What measurements do the Wailers have in place to ensure that you keep connecting and reconnecting with your audience?
At this point, I think it's just basically great presentation because the music is already unique. It's already a brand. The message has been the same, and it's quite as relevant today as it was 40 years ago when we started. Clearly, beyond our time. So I guess that's basically the instrument that's been, bonding the whole thing together because, there's always a new generation, and people are always, will always be in search of better. And I think that's why people always gravitate to, Marley, Wailers music. Basically, that's it.
Sure.
So it's just presentation.
Sure. And since 2010, there's been a lot of talk about a new album, collaborating with some A-list people.
That album has been done over 2 years now, but with many things like that, it's bureaucracy that's pretty much holding it up. It's the business. We're in the music business, and unfortunately, sometimes music gets overshadowed or backbench the business. But I'm sure when that comes out, it'll be great. But most of what Wailers are doing now, outside of that, is basically, driven by purpose-driven music. Because it's going to be hard for Wailers to be going out there and, going with a conventional new album for a scene. But so they've chosen not to because, of course, what's kept the band going so far has been the musical class, and that's what people still want to hear.
Sure.
But we can get into purpose-driven music. So a year and a half ago, I recorded a song called "A Step from Mankind," which was all donations towards the World Food Program. They use it for something called Walk the World from Hunger, just to bring attention to the fact that there are so many kids dying for hunger right across the world.
Is that part of your I Went Hungry campaign?
Yeah, prior to that. So, but it's all
Okay.
tied in, So, purpose-driven music like that, what the Wailers are, inclined to do, but not just an album just for it.
Because interesting enough, I believe that Carly had some unreleased tracks from the Exodus album, drumming tracks that was going to be on the album. So
Yes.
can we still expect something like that?
Well, I think there have been recordings on some of those tracks. You will get some. Actually, I think it's all new tracks, with the exception of some of those hidden tracks that we're talking about.
Okay. And considering that Bob Marley essentially was 70% of the contributor to the original music, how do you endeavour to keep the music on the new album lyrically centred and very relevant?
Well, I guess the artists came in with, first, they knew what to expect from us. They knew what, Wailers music has always been about. So there was already a theme, an idea set, so they came in with this seed planted in their mind. So it never deterred much from where the essence of the music was.
Okay, sure. And can you tell us who the A-list celebs are yet?
Yeah, I would tell you, but
Coolant? No?
it might disappear.
Coolant? No? No?
I had called one of the persons with the Kenny Chesney, and that's just one of
Okay,
11.
but you've done it. I've seen that a song's been done with Kenny Chesney before, right?
Yeah, I think
It was a
the
single
second track.
released,
Yes,
yeah,
the
and it went to
second
number
release,
one,
and
yeah.
Yes, so
Yes, Kenny Chesney.
yeah, so he's on it, and there are other people of his caliber.
You're not telling me anything new.
Sorry.
How does the mission statement differ today for the Wailers, considering that the band peaked in the 70s and still carries the the mammoth cultural momentum that we have today? Is your mission statement still the same?
It has not changed.
No.
It has not changed, and I think that's what keeps drawing people to the band. Because after going through everything, there's a music for every purpose. There's a time and a place for everything. And when people want, get to that vibe and they want that kind of music, they know where to come, and it's always been Wailers. So, of course, the mission statement has never changed. Peace, unity, justice, liberty.
Yeah.
All for one for all.
Cycle.
Yeah,
Kind of like
sure.
the Musketeers.
yeah. Bob Marley never ever hid the fact that he really didn't like Russian people. the Wailers are known for breaking barriers and going from country to country where some artists would never go. How do you think Bob would feel about you playing 3 shows in Russia?
You know, I think that at the time it's more of a personal sentiment because of it was very personal. I think if he was alive by now, that definitely would have been a thing of the past. Because you know, sometimes you get passionate about a situation at the time this happened, and most of the time it has nothing to do with the normal person. You know, it's always people in high places that are just trying to oppress the music and you know in relation to people. And I think that was what he actually hated, not necessarily the day-to-day man. Yeah, so I think that's the misconception, you know.
Okay.
And I know that will have changed.
Fair enough. And then slightly controversial, the Wailers versus the original Wailers. What division has this caused between united fans that advocate one love, one aim, and one destiny?
Once again, I think you know it's just business. It is, you know. People go to these concerts, and I mean the message will be the same. You know, it might be the bass line might be a little bit different. Some of the guitar riffs might be different, but music is pretty much the same. And I think they're basically coexisting with. And what you know, after 40 years, people will have issues with each other, and because people change, you know, people have music, people progress at different levels, mature at different levels, and I think that's basically the push and shove between, you know, the factions. But it has nothing to do with the Wailers music, because it's basically at the same level, and it has very little to do with us.
Do you think we could ever see Fam and L back together at any point?
You know what? It has happened before that they're separated. And they've always come back together, so I would not be surprised. I wouldn't leave the door closed. You know, it's been happening for years. You know.
What does freedom mean to you? Roland, what does freedom mean to you?
What does freedom mean to me? You know, getting emancipated from mental slavery. Bob Marley singing to emancipate yourself from mental slavery. But yourself and free your mind.
That's on Radio Carter, right?
Because you got to look in the mirror also to, you know, see yourself. You got to change it. Just like Michael Jackson said, man in the mirror. You know? You got to free yourself too, you know, and pray hard, you know, to the Most High Jah. You know.
For me, I think it's just a level playing field to express one being. You know, by being, I mean emotions, thoughts, ideas, expressions. You know, so it's just express who you are. That's basically freedom to me. Level playing field to express your being.
Yeah.
Sure. And when all is said and done, generations from now, how do you want the Wailers to be remembered?
Well, the Wailers will be remembered for, you know, what it is, the essence of it, roots, rock reggae, which has to do with self-empowerment, you know, love, humanity, charity, and, you know, peace. And once again, a level playing field for all mankind, despite the color or creed.